What's up, homies and hoes? I'm back again after several months, and I'm not on the world that I've been playing on, and that's for various reasons. Killer and I still have the world and that server, but it's just not up, hadn't been up in a while. And so I started playing Minecraft again. I joined a server, just a server that I found, and started doing my own thing. Killer hadn't been playing Minecraft, so I've just been doing my own little solo adventure and stuff. So over the past month I've been working on this. I wasn't really sure what I was going to build. I didn't really have any plans or anything coming into this. But when I got to this area over here, I was inspired. So this side of the mountain didn't have an opening on it. By the way, this whole mountain where it's stone wasn't stone before, except for some of this stuff right here was stone. And this side had a little bit of an entrance, and there was like a small kind of cave in here. So I was inspired to do a little bit of a cave base up on, up next to the waters. And since I already kind of knew how to do, these natural looking ceilings from the last world in the melon and pumpkin farm area, I decided to just do that sort of thing in here. And it turned out pretty good. I like it. Looks good. Sometimes I think maybe it's a little overdone. Like maybe it's a little too much, but it's pretty good. On this side is the main base, I guess you could say. And underneath here, we got villagers to do some trading. Didn't really need too many villagers as compared to the last world, since other people play on this server. Didn't have to do everything myself. So I chose 8 farming villagers for the melons and pumpkins. Get lots of emeralds. Chose 3 clerics to get some of the trades like redstone, lapis, glowstone, bottles of enchanting. Got a couple of librarians for mending, unbreaking, and efficiency. A couple of stone masons for some of the concrete. And the armorsmith, weaponsmith, and toolsmith for all the diamond equipment. So I got the idea for this from the previous world and some other worlds. So this down here with the brick and whatever that shit is mixture. I got that from the melon and pumpkin farm area. Decided to add in some dripstone since I was buying a lot to advance these stonemason trades. For the lighting, I went with redstone lamps because I pretty much never use them, and I thought they went well with the color scheme in here. Also went with spruce because I also rarely ever use spruce for anything. It's also much easier to get lots of spruce since you can make the 2x2 trees. So I just went ahead and did that for all of this. In the back section here, since I didn't want too many villagers because I don't want it to start lagging too bad around here, I decided to make all of these bubble elevators that go down to different Y levels. So on this side, we go to Y level 37, which is just a mine for stone. This one goes all the way to the bottom of the world, which was to mine for diamonds. This one goes to the melon and pumpkin farm, which is just like right underneath. And then this one goes to Y16, which is like gold level. And originally, I just had one bubble elevator while I was, working on building this stuff. I just had a temporary base kind of out here. And the original bubble elevators right here. That's where it, whoops, that's where it went down. As you can see, this is the stone layer. I also got my bed here next to the 4 beacons, which give me all the buffs that I need. The bed is placed here so as to get maximum radiation during the night, and then I'll get superpowers by the time I wake up in the morning. So in between the farmers, I've got a map here which shows my base, and then some other projects that other people are working on the server. Back here we've got the bubble elevator that goes to the 2nd floor, which is the storage room, which would be new for everyone to see on the channel, but I've actually done a storage room like this before on a different world that I've never made a video on. Maybe one day I'll make a video on it, but I don't have any plans to make a video on it anytime soon. But this design is pretty similar to a storage room that I made on that world. So we've got, it's different though. I changed it up. So we've got some kind of hidden lighting in here with the redstone lamps in the backs of these chest sections. And then for the rest of the lighting, we've got glow berries lighting everything else up. Up top here, I thought about doing a roof. The original design for this storage room had a roof inside, but I figured since this other section was going to be natural looking like stone ceilings, figured I'd just go ahead and do that same thing on the inside here. Left it pretty open up here so you can see it. Didn't want it to be obscured much. So there's just like a couple of support beams going across. On the ends, I've got barrels for no reason other than to just slightly reduce client lag. Because if I ever need to expand the storage, I'll go this way with it, and I'll add more double chests that way. So I just added barrels here just to have a, some different looks. So to the left in here, we've got the enchantment room. Not much to say, just an enchantment room. And then to the right, we've got the furnace room. So I chose 2 walls to be just regular furnaces, and then the back wall to be blast furnaces. And I didn't use smokers because there's never going to be a time where I need to mass smelt food. So I just went with this design where most of the time I'm probably going to need the furnaces for cooking like blocks and stone and whatever. Which, by the way, I have not used these furnaces in several weeks. I think I only used them maybe the first 2 weeks, and I have not touched these since. The center here has all of the accommodations that I need, for now at least. Stone cutter and anvil are pretty necessary. The loom I only needed to make a couple of banners, and the jukebox I only made because I wanted to listen to one of the music discs. And then I got 2 brewing stands in the middle with an ender chest. So with the floor, I went with gray and cyan colored terracotta, and I bet you can't guess which is which because this is the gray looking is the cyan and the brown looking is the gray. I don't know how that makes any sense, but there it is. Gray and cyan. I went with this because that's what I got with the stonemason trades, and I figured it went well enough with the color scheme. So just went ahead with this. Originally I was thinking of using a terracotta, just regular terracotta, and the cyan, but I didn't get the regular terracotta, and I didn't know where a Badlands was at the time. So I just went with this, and I think it looks good enough. So across the way I've got my nether portal, And originally it was over here, but I moved it over there because it's better over there than over here. There's also a bunch of turtles around here because I brought a bunch of turtle eggs and hatched them, but I hatched them outside over here where there was sand originally, but then I got rid of that sand, and now all the turtles just kind of hang out in here since they no longer have a home, and they always get stuck in the boats. Also, the water in here, like this little river area that I made, I added a bunch of coral, sea pickles under here because I thought it looked nice, and the sea pickles allow for some underwater illumination. And of course I've got a conduit over here, which just helps with water breathing and everything wherever I am around here. So going down to the melon and pumpkin farm, there's not much to see because I only just recently fixed this place up, and you're probably thinking this isn't fixed up, and you should have seen this place before. This is definitely fixed up from then. So right here I've got some glass in case you wanted to watch the action, which I don't know why you would, but it's here. Back here, just a bit of nether wart. Don't really use it much. Over here, we've got our correctional officer to change the villagers, but there's no villagers even in storage right now because I don't need any more. But in there is where they are. And it looks like they're making wheat or something in here, even though they shouldn't be. Yep. So it looks like they're not even going to be able to breed. I don't know how they got their hands on seeds. Down here is probably the most recent addition. I finally added a item sorter and destruction of any excess items that come through here. Yeah, not much to see back here compared to the last world's melon and pumpkin farm. This is quite modest, only 2 4x4 sections of chests. They don't fill up very quickly. Alright, so moving to above the base, we've got these ponds up here and this tree. So I just kind of, like I said, I didn't really have a plan for this area. I haven't really been planning too far ahead on anything. Just been going with whatever I think of. So this area up here on top of this mountain was sort of flat. Like it was flat in the same sense that this area right here is flat. It just kind of, you know, flattened off a little bit before it started going back up again. So I flattened it all the way and then decided that I would make it a pond up here, and yeah, then I just made this second little pond area, which starts deep and then slowly starts to get not deep, get shallow. Over here, I've got a little custom geode that I put. I didn't really know what I wanted this to look like. I just kind of had an idea of making a little crystal cove in here, and this is what I came up with. It's basically just a geode kind of looking area, but I think it looks good enough. Used the end rods for lighting in here. I try to keep the lighting as natural as possible so it's not too jarring. As well as out here, I've got not really natural lighting, but hidden lighting. Under some of the carpets are glowstone to light up the area. Don't think I've gotten a good look at some of this stuff up close yet, so kind of take you around some of the little detailing that I've done on the mountain. Like with this little tree here that I added. Most of the mountain hasn't really been detailed fully. It's just kind of, you know, just the stone has been put in place, and then at some other later point, I'll come back and put in some stairs and slabs of different types. I try to put like mossy cobblestone only close to water areas. So anywhere that there's water, there's going to be mossy cobblestone pretty close by. Anywhere that it would make sense for some greenery to be growing, I kind of put that around. So like here, it's sort of next to the waterway, so there's some grass and stuff growing here. Whereas like over here, there's not going to be any grass or anything because it's too far away from any water sources. And over here, I don't know what I'm going to do. I plan to continue the river. This little waterfall will turn into a river right here. And then I'm thinking of continuing it all the way to up here somewhere, and then just kind of having smaller streams trickle into a larger stream coming off the mountain, as if it were like the snow melt is causing this waterway to be a thing. I might at some point also get rid of some of this stone right here and create another waterfall coming off down here, so that it'd be like the fresh water up there is creating a stream all the way down out to the waterway out here. So last thing to show at my base is down here at the bottom of the world. So unknown to me, my base is pretty much almost right on top of a ancient city. Didn't plan for that, but it's actually a good thing, because I do have some plans that I could do down here. So I've gone ahead and gotten rid of most of the Skulk Shriekers, so I don't really have to worry about any wardens spawning for the most part. I can just freely destroy all of this ancient city. And then after it's all gone, I might make a city of my own down here. Still playing with that idea a little bit. And also, a little thing I didn't know is that the only mobs that can spawn in the ancient city are the wardens. So it doesn't matter how dark it is down here, nothing can spawn if this was an ancient city. So I don't even need torches or anything down here because nothing can spawn. So if you ever need someplace in the world underground to build whatever and you don't want to have to worry about light level, just find an ancient city and nothing will spawn. Alright, so I'm here at the world spawn. This is the community shopping district, and I bet you can't guess which shop is mine. Yep, it's that one over there. That looks like it came straight out of the last world. Because at this point, I've spent so much time making nether structures that I don't even know how to build normally anymore. So right here is my building, Armor Up. I sell armor and tools and weapons. This is the design in classic Anzod fashion. I only designed the front and one of the sides, and I winged it from there. So the only plan I had going into this was I designed a front and a side, and then after that it was all just up in the air. So when you open the door, it triggers a shrieker underneath as sort of like a doorbell or a jump scare. And in here I've got my assortment of things that I sell. You get the pickaxes and everything. a lot of these have just sort of random enchantments on them because I get so much XP from trading with the villagers that I just get rid of the enchantments that are on these by default and just add new ones. And then some complimentary XP that people pay for sometimes. I don't really keep up with the complimentary XP anymore. In here I've got my book welcoming people, and I also take rotten flesh and provide golden carrots in return. So that's that book. And then we've got this guy in here. I don't even remember what his name is, but he is the shop owner. Upstairs, there's nothing because I haven't decided what's going up here. And that grass block is because Endermen leave grass blocks all over my property. Over here, we've got flesh donations. So under here, you put some rotten flesh in, and for every rotten flesh you put in, it'll spit out a golden carrot. So I've got a book here on the Lord of Sacrifice, and if you really care to read about this, you can pause it. It's just some lore I made up on the Lord of Sacrifice and why giving rotten flesh gives you golden carrots. Back here is where the magic happens. Up here is the storage of golden carrots. That feeds into the dispenser up there. Right here is where the rotten flesh comes in, gets stored down here. We got an item filter right here to make sure that the only thing we accept is rotten flesh. Yep, there it is. I don't know why there's a rotten flesh just hanging out in the hopper. So I kind of, since I said just kind of winged, you know, how I made this interior. Well, I didn't say that, but it was implied. So I made this staircase going up, and then, like, at some point during the construction of this interior, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know what to do with golden carrots, because I can get those really easily, so I was selling golden carrots before, and then I was thinking, well, I could do something else with the golden carrots, like give them as a reward for putting in something. And, you know, long story short, I decided that, you know, you put in rotten flesh, you get golden carrots. And I needed to fit that behind this staircase in here. So I went into a creative world and just started tinkering away, making some different redstone contraptions, trying to figure out how I can fit this behind here. So I knew that this was going to be the amount of space that I had to work with. So I just used what I knew about redstone and came up with this. You got this fast dispenser, you know, this fast redstone ticker or whatever. And the real problem that I came across was not only fitting it behind here, but having it so that it only dispense one golden carrot per one rotten flesh. I got to a point where I was only losing like 11, like if you put in a stack of rotten flesh, it would give a stack and 11 or 12 of golden carrots. Which I was like, okay, that's fine. But, you know, I wanted it to be a 1-to-1. And I just couldn't find online anywhere something that would just tick, since this gives off a signal every time a rotten flesh goes through. It essentially ticks once every time. But I couldn't find online a way to translate that into this. So I just kind of had to mess around and figure it out myself. So this setup works, where it'll tick into this, sticky piston. It'll push the redstone block forward for a brief second, which will turn this on. It'll put a signal into this block, which will push that up very briefly, which is enough time to just have this activate once and dispense one golden carrot. And I have been lying to you, it isn't a perfect one-to-one. It does give you an extra on the first rotten flesh. So if you were to only put in one rotten flesh at a time, you would get 2 every time, but if you put in a stack, it would give you a stack and 1, which is good enough for me. So that's all I have to show this time. I don't know how much I'll have next month. I find myself getting bored quite easily on this world, just because so much of what I do is all this stone detailing, which gets pretty boring pretty quick. Took me like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to finish this interior, just because I do just a little bit of it at a time. And yeah, we'll see about next month how far we've come, or if I'm even still playing. So I'll see you guys next time.